So about a week ago, I went and saw Aladdin, and I didn't know if I was going to review it. I know it's kind of like a kids movie and this and that. But the more negative I see about it online, the more I want to just take a minute and kind of say my piece on it, because Aladdin was a big deal to me when I was a kid. Like, I went and saw Aladdin in the theater, and it was my favorite Disney movie. I loved it so much. And so when when they announced that they were doing a live action adaptation of it, I was like, oh, cool. I really liked The Jungle Book, and I liked Maleficent, and I liked some of these movies. I liked Cinderella. But then there's other ones that I was like, oh, these are pretty terrible, like A Wrinkle in Time and stuff. So, of course, cautiously optimistic. And I wanted to go see it with my kids, of course, so I had to wait a little while to see it. But I was very excited about that because it was, it was a weird moment for me. I was taking my children to see Aladdin in theaters, like the new version of it. It was weird. It was like getting old, kind of moment. And so I went in, and I about like 10 minutes in, I was like 10 minutes in, and I was like, I don't like this movie. Like, something's off. Something's weird. Something feels rushed. Something feels just off. And then I feel like right about when, because come on, people, there really isn't spoilers to be had here. We all know the story, and they follow it pretty closely. I mean, there are some changes, but for the most part, it's almost identically the same movie. But around, I think, the time where Aladdin goes into the Cave of Wonders, the movie completely turned around for me. And from that point on, I want to say, and I would love to go back now and rewatch it and see if the beginning, like 10 or 15 minutes or whatever it was, are different for me now that I've adjusted to the characters and whatnot. But yeah, I just loved everything from there. And I know Will Smith is like the cool guy to hate on nowadays, because it's funny, and I was just talking about this recently, but Will Smith was the coolest guy once upon a time. Like in the 90s, when he was Fresh Prince and Independence Day and Men in Black and all these things. Will Smith, every time he was like, oh, they're putting Will Smith in a movie, I was like, oh shit, that's going to make a ton of money. And even later, even into the early 2000s, iRobot and all these movies, there were big deals, and he was like the big action star of the time. And then I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, everyone just started hating on him, and he's now that name. He's like a Ben Affleck or something, or there's other people as well, but there's certain names that people are like, ugh, are immediately like, I don't like him. And you're like Tom Cruise or something, even though his movies gross a crazy amount of money, and they're always super well respected. Everyone always loves the movies he's in, but they always say how much they hate him. Now, that's obviously more of a personal thing, but they still are like, no, I hate Tom Cruise, and I don't want to see any of his movies. And then I'm like, so have you seen this? And they're like, oh yeah, that was great. And it's like, have you seen this? Yeah, it was great. Will Smith is kind of becoming one of those people where just every time you mention his name, everyone's fucking like, I hate him. And it's like, why? Like, what happened? I don't understand. I thought he was great in This Is Genie. I thought he was fucking excellent. I was like, oh wow, he really made it his own thing. Because this was a tall order. This was a very, very iconic performance from a very, very beloved actor in Robin Williams, who obviously had an untimely demise, a very, very tragic and sad one that was extremely unexpected. And this was one of his, one of his better characters, one of his characters that was the most beloved, the genie. I mean, he really kind of made Aladdin with that character. And so when people brought him in, it was like, oh my God, Will Smith, who a lot of people, as I said, kind of hate, putting him in a role that's already beloved, that was like bad news. And I went in like, oh man, he better nail this shit. He better make it his own. And he did. I felt like he paid very good respect to the Robin Williams character. There's a lot of similar lines there, but he also makes everything his own. There's more humor to it. That's definitely more Will Smith than Robin Williams. I think it pays really good homage while being its own thing. So I was very impressed with all of that. Aladdin, the guy who plays Aladdin, at first I had a moment where I was just like, I don't know, how am I feeling about this guy? But as it went on, I really enjoyed him. And oh man, I mean, Jasmine, holy Jesus Christ, this girl. This girl's like Gal Gadot gorgeous. Like, as hot gets. If there's like a meter of hot, like she's at that level where it's like no person could be hotter. They could be as hot, but it's like that's where you tap out, like, or top out is like right there. And Jasmine is at that level. Iago doesn't really have a huge presence in the movie. I did still like him. I still thought some of his lines were funny. He's more menacing in this. He's not comedic almost at all. There are comedic lines with him, and they do hit a little bit, but he's not played for comedic effect all that much. He's more of just kind of that Jafar sidekick. As far as Jafar goes, and a lot of people were kind of shitting on Jafar for being younger and better looking and this and that, and I thought he was great. I didn't have an issue with him. I thought he was a very intimidating villain. I thought he really brought his performance. I liked him as Jafar. Did he really look like Jafar from the cartoon? Not really, but so? Like, I don't know. That's silly to me. Either does, the Sultan in this. I don't feel like he looks like the guy in the cartoon, but this is a little more serious take on the movie. Like, not completely. It's definitely still childish and fun and funny and playful. And oh man, I loved Raja too. I thought Raja was great. Really great CGI effects on Raja. The tiger looked amazing. And yeah, I mean, I thought all the characters, and then there's the addition of the genie's love interest, and I really like how that all played out. I thought that was cool, because it made a little more sense for once Aladdin makes his final wish. It was cool to see the genie actually have somewhere to go with that. But yeah, overall, I was really happy with this movie. As a huge Aladdin fan, and somebody who went in, just kind of cautiously optimistic, I was very surprised by how good I thought it was at that first 10 minutes. And I think maybe people might just have been wanting to go in to hate it, and when that first 5-10 minutes didn't feel all that right, they were like, yep, see, I knew it sucked, and their mind just shut off. I try to just give a movie every chance it can have until the movie's over, and then go, fuck, man, I just kept trying, and it just never hit for me. This one, I gave shots, not many, because by the time fucking like 1 or 2 shots were given, yeah, I was already caught on, and I was like, all right, this movie's rad. I'm digging this. And just from there, I thought oh man, and they have this incredible extra song that I think there's another one too, but this other song by Jasmine called Speechless. And I think this, not only is this actress beautiful, but she can act and she can fucking sing. Holy God, man, this song is powerful, and the way she sings it and the way she does it and the way it's shot and the way it's done, I really like the way Guy Ritchie approached it. I thought it was extremely powerful and moving and gorgeous, and I just loved that edition of that song and the way the actress brings it. Everything about it was fantastic. I was like, wow, this is a great addition to an already great previous movie that they're adding on to. So yeah, I was very happy. There we go. There's my piece on. I wasn't going to record this. I actually was just getting up to walk away after I recorded my Gattaca review. And right as I was getting up, you know what? I'm gonna talk about Aladdin. It's been on my mind a little bit lately. I see some hate for it, and I think it's completely unwarranted. I think it's a fantastic live action adaptation, and I can't wait for Lion King. That thing's gonna gross $2 billion, man. Everyone's gonna love the shit out of the movie. I can already see it coming from a mile away. And if I could have any other movie remade from Disney, Little Mermaid. I think that will just be a visual feast. After seeing Aquaman, I really was like, oh my God, now that they're there, like when I was watching Aquaman, it felt like a live adaptation of Little Mermaid in places, and I was like, just to see that, just for the pure beauty of it, it's gonna be spectacular. So I really look forward to something like that. So obviously a little different of a video for my channel. I know I mostly do horror, but I am a big Aladdin fan, and I'll do whatever the fuck I want on my channel. You don't have to watch it. Adios.